Hello! Welcome to another month of Stampin' Society. I'm Charlotte Mallett, and I'm sharing Bottled Happiness, Coordinating Punch, and I thought I would stamp this using these three great new InColors, Parakeet Party, Sweet Sorbet, and Orchid Oasis. So let's get started. We're going to dive right in. This stamp set, Bottled Happiness, has two-step layered flowers that you can add different colors, and I'm going to show you how to get even more colors than just two with stamping. First, you're going to take this leaf image. You're going to kind of place it on your card where you want it. This piece, we're going to stamp flowers on the top and the bottom. So we'll put our cardstock in. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And we're just going to eyeball it. It doesn't have to be totally centered because we'll trim it afterwards. We're just going to eyeball where we want it. We're going to place it there, and then we'll pick it up with the Stamparatus plate. Stamparatus is key for this technique that I'm going to show you. Let's ink the leaves up with Parakeet Party. What I like about the Stamparatus is the plates are removable, and we're going to remove them quite a bit when we're stamping today. So we're going to just ink this up. A little bit of color there. We're going to place this back into the Stamparatus, and we're just going to stamp it. And press if you want. Very, very pretty. Now, this is going to serve as our guide to lay this image on. So these pieces are the flower centers. So use those as your guide for lining this up. Got to get a little. Very good, just like so. That looks good. And then we're going to pick it up with this plate. So let's pick that up. It's okay if this moves. We're going to use these top and side edge and the magnet to hold it in place when we're stamping. Now that we've lined this one up, and we'll put it back in after we ink it, we're going to pull in some Blushing Bride. We're going to stamp the entire base in this one color to give us this multicolor look. So we'll lay some other colors over the top. This doesn't need to be super inked, just enough to give some variety of color. And now that we've lined that up, we can stamp it just like so. Perfect. Those two are pretty by themselves. And we'll take this out, and we're going to start to pull in some of these markers. We're going to use Orchid Oasis, Stampin' Right marker, and we're going to color in this portion of the flower image. I don't know what you would call these, the status, or they kind of look like miniature lupins, or you get the drift, but we're going to color those in. Orchid Oasis. And then we'll line that up again. We're going to stamp those directly over the top. Beautiful. Lines up. And even if it's off-centered a little bit, or I didn't color all the dots in, that's what it is. I didn't color all the dots in. You get some sense of that pink showing through. So if you want to, you can come back through. Because you're using the Stamparatus, it will line right up. Look at the edges of those. Stamp it again. Just like so. Very pretty. Okay, now I want these flowers in the middle to pop. I really want them to be dark. So we're going to use the Sweet Sorbet. We're going to use the brush side, and we're just going to paint those. And I'm sure your mind is going crazy like mine is, like all the color combos. You could, if you had the time and wanted to, you could color every single one of these flowers a different color. How pretty would that multicolor bouquet be? Okay. Now, when you do this, when you're markering an image, if you happen to get any of the color onto something else, you can just wipe it away with your finger or with a wipe. So we've got that Sweet Sorbet. We're going to line it up over that And look, you can kind of see a couple areas that I missed, but that's going to be okay. Ooh, very pretty to pull that other color in. And let's maybe get the edge of that flower one more time. Just the outsides. And I think maybe I want those berries, so why not do the berries while we've got it here? It's so nice that you can pull the plate off and actually get in and look with your eyes up close to see where you're coloring. All right, line that back up. Stamp it again for a beautiful multicolored look. So really the only pieces that were Blushing Bride that stayed through is there. So lighter ink color, and then you can lay the others over the top. You also don't even need to do that. You could just marker the entire thing and stamp it at once, but I kind of like to see the color build. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to flip this on the other side. Okay. Now we lined that up, right? In fact, I think I want to just trim a little off of this so that the flower image butts together. Yeah, that's better. And what I wanted to do is I want to create a full background here. So I just trimmed a little bit off of that and then used my eyes to make sure that it lined up. We're going to put our magnets back down. Hold that paper in place, and I'm using both of these edges in case anything moves. And then we're going to just repeat the process again, this time on the other side, so we have a symmetrical image. So Parakeet Party, ink that up as our green. Lay that in here. Stamp that down. You can see it coming to life. We're going to clean off our stamp here only because I don't want to get all those other colors of ink inside of my Blushing Bride ink pad. Otherwise, it wouldn't really matter. Pull that out. Now, if you had a big, huge desk, you may not need to pull those plates out, but I like to actually pull them out, look that I've inked everything up the way that I want it. Stamp that there. Oh, pretty, pretty, pretty. I'm so excited already. Make sure nothing moved. Let's color in this. I got to remember all the names. Orchid Oasis. Let's color that in again. It's kind of a purple blue, really pretty new InColor. Stampin' Up's InColors are available for 2 years. So these are available starting May 2nd, so tomorrow, or depending upon when you're watching this video, May 2nd, all the way through to 2024. Okay. Oh, very pretty, looks good. Maybe we'll add a little bit more on the ends there since we missed that. Nice. Let's pull in the sweet sorbet on these flowers. And we might as well get the berries at the same time. Looks pretty good. We'll line that up there. And look at that, gorgeous, gorgeous. I don't think there's anything we need to fix. Okay, so we'll take that out. Then we're gonna lay our greeting right over the center. Oh, I'm excited, this is gonna be pretty. Let's pull this out of the way. All right, I think we're gonna use the Overflowing with Happiness. We'll just take a piece of scrap paper and we'll mount up that image Overflowing with happiness. Okay, we've mounted Overflowing with Happiness. We're just going to stamp it along the bottom here. I'm using VersaFine ink. You can use Memento, any black ink. I like the stark black. Just stamp it in the middle there. And then we're going to trim that off. All right, this is trimmed at exactly 1 inch. And we're going to take this lovely label punch and we're going to punch either end of this piece just to give it a little bit of decoration. So we'll go about a 1/2 inch past the greeting and center it top to bottom, just like so. If you don't like it, you can punch it again. Another 1/2 inch past the greeting. If you run it in this way, you're going to punch the greeting off. So you're going to take it, slide it in halfway, make sure it's centered top to bottom and left to right. That looks very good. Okay, perfect. Now the other thing we're going to do is we're going to add, this punch has this little circle. We're just going to come to the edge right about there, exactly to the edge, centered to add a little hole. And the same thing here on this side. Centered it. This gives you kind of a guide of how it's centered. And then we're going to line it right up to the edge. Oh, we've got a cat who's come to visit. Hop down, kitty cat. Just like so. Very nice. We're going to use this as a ribbon slide so that we can add it to the top. Now another fun new product is this baker's twine that is in the InColors. So I don't know what color. I think maybe the green, because I like seeing the green all the way through. We're going to use the Parakeet Party. Another fun new product is this Tea Boutique cards and envelopes, which also happens to be in the InColor. And I think we're going to pull out one of these green, the Parakeet Party here as our card base. We'll trim that down, but that'll look pretty on there. Or let's see what the Orchid Oasis looks like. Let's pull them all out, actually. And you can see they have matching envelopes, which is so fun. So maybe it's pretty on the red. I think maybe that's too much red. We didn't use any of that, but we did use this. Ooh, what do you think? Purple or green? We'll decide at the last minute. I'll set these aside here. We're going to trim this down just so that the flowers are basically the primary image. So we're going to take this to, let's say, 4.5 by 3.25. Let's try that. And it actually ended up being 4.5 by 3. Okay. This will still be able to go over the top, and then we can decide which one of these card bases we want to put it on. So we're going to want about, I don't know, 10 or 15 inches of this. This is way more than 10, so this is more like 20 here. I cut too much, but it's better to have too much than not enough. And we're going to just thread this through. Just like so, so that it can wrap again on the back side. We'll thread this through here. We want enough to have a nice, cute bow coming off the side. Now we'll tie that down after we Let's mount it and then tie it down. That's going to be cute. And then we'll have this stuff trailing off to the side. But let's mount this down before we tie it. Okay, so that's loosely wrapped around there. We're just going to flip this over and add a couple Stampin' Dimensionals to the back side. Pull the adhesive liner off, and then we will center this about where we want it. That looks nice, top to bottom. We end up covering quite a bit of those sweet sorbet flowers, but that's okay. Now that that's in place, we can tie a nice sweet little bow on this side here. I'm going to give myself a knot first. And then a little bow. Now I like to make sure that my bow stays in place, so I'm going to grab just a little glue dot with the paper piercing tool or take your pick tool or something like that. Set it underneath the knot, press it down so that the bow stays in place. And we'll trim this. Let's do that right now. Kind of keep those tails long because I like that extra bit of color that is there. There we go. And then we'll mount it onto our card. Purple's sure pretty. Green. I might have to just make another one and do both, but I think I'm going to take, I think I'm feeling this Orchid Oasis. Orchid Oasis. So we'll mount this on here with dimensionals as well. Oh, very, very pretty. Center that. Very good. Now I've got saggy belly here. I should have put more dimensionals on the back side. I was just in a haste. So we'll tuck one in right there. We'll tuck another. We're just fixing it afterwards. No saggy belly cards. Very, very nice. Oh, that is so pretty. We can add a little bit more dimension using some InColor matte decorative dots. These are matching all of the other, let's open these up, these InColor dots. Oh, pretty. And they're in shades. You see that dark to light of each of the InColors. So we can add a couple of those, maybe some of these softer pink ones or the sweet sorbet to kind of pull in some of this lighter color that ended up being Blushing Bride. Let's do one more, maybe right here. That's fun. And maybe we'll do a couple of these darker ones. Oh, there's gonna need to be lots of these used in my future. Let's see, put that right there next to that one. Just for a little bit more dimension. Oh, isn't that pretty? Guys, I showed you this fun new punch bundle and we didn't even use the punch. The punch coordinates with this larger bottle, but there are so many other great things in the stamp, so you don't even need the punch if you don't want it. Overflowing with happiness, what a pretty card. I'm excited about all of these great new products in the Stampin' Up! Catalog. I can't wait to use them all. It's just fun to start to play. Thanks for sharing a few minutes with me today on making this card, and I hope you kind of learned a little bit more on how to use your Stamparatus with some markers, some Stampin' Right markers. We'll see you next month.